Welcome to AOSIS Insights, where we unlock knowledge to the world. I'm joined today by Professor Khoza-Shangase from the University of the Witwatersrand in South Africa, and editor of the book titled Occupational Noise Induced Hearing Loss, An African Perspective. We are going to discuss this book's contribution to the specific scientific discourse. Prof, thank you for joining us today. Please share a bit about yourself and your involvement in this field of study.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Professor Khoza-Shangase. I'm a professor of audiology and a former head of the speech pathology and audiology department at the University of the Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, South Africa. I teach, I also conduct and supervise research at the institution. And I also engage in service to the university and the profession of audiology as a whole in the country. I was involved in co-editing an award-winning book titled Black Academic Voices, The South African Experience. And it was during co-editing of that book that I became astutely aware of the gap in audiology knowledge that is Afrocentric in nature within the African context. And it was for that reason that I engaged in this huge research and publishing journey, really, that focuses on African perspectives to audiology in different areas of audiology. So this book that we are discussing now is therefore a part of a big research and publishing project of mine that is aimed at reimagining audiology within the African context to make sure that the teaching, the research, as well as practice is Afrocentric and it's grounded within the African context. And I co-edited this book with a colleague of mine, Professor Nomfundo Murwe. So that's the book we're talking about right now.
What is this book contribution to the driving of best practice for hearing conservation within African mining contexts?
So this book is research-driven contribution into the occupational health and safety space. And it equips the occupational healthcare providers and researchers that are involved in the management of occupational noise-induced hearing loss and those that are involved in implementation of hearing conservation programs with contextually relevant evidence that allows them to perform best practice in mines, particularly mines that are located in low and middle income countries or low and middle income contexts, such as the African context. So the book provides contemporary, contextually relevant and responsive evidence that is related to occupational noise-induced hearing loss and hearing conservation programs with a very specific focus on the African context. It also raises important implications for research, for regulations, for policy formulation within this context. And we argue for best practice in this book. We argue for best practice that is multidisciplinary in nature and also best practice that engages all stakeholders that are relevant in the sectors. In various sectors to make sure that the interventions that are provided are preventive oriented rather than the current compensation oriented approach that is adopted. So in towards that goal, the book expansively addresses all aspects of occupational noise induced hearing loss and hearing conservation programs in this one volume with careful considerations of complexities and challenges to hearing conservation program implementations. And we look at the context and identify these challenges and complexities, but also offer potential solutions and recommendations for all the challenges that are identified, with the goal to be able to offer some insight and contribution towards local policies, local regulations to ensure that an Afrocentric contribution to the world of evidence is available. That's what this book, in a nutshell, is about.
Thank you. And then for the viewers, to publish a book with AOSIS, please download and submit the book proposal form at books.aosis.co.za. Prof, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.